अस्सलाम वालेकुम गाइस। आज का हमारा टॉपिक है जी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ पाकिस्तान 1973 कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हिस्ट्री। राइट अ डिटेल नोट ऑन द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडियन एक्ट 1935 इंट्रोडक्शन। The Government of India Act 1935 was the last constitution of British India. It lasted until 1947 when British India was spelt into Pakistan and India. The Act detailed document was provided with 321 sections and 10 schedules. The Government of Indian Act 1935 was very lengthy and it was a comprehensive written constitution given to India, and it has no preamble, and it came into force on 1st April 1937. Historical background. In March 1933, British government issued a document named White Paper. It contained two important things. First, new Indian constitution would be diarchy at the center. Second, setup of responsible government in the provinces. In April 1933, the Joint Select Committee of the British Parliament examined the White Paper and submitted its report in December 1934. A joint committee continued the process of consolidation until Government of Indian Act has enacted. Importance of Indian Act. Constitutional history of Pakistan start with the Government of India Act 1935 under Independent Act Section 8. It was adopted as interim constitution of Pakistan with some amendment. It has also been a source of constitutional making in Pakistan. Objective of India Act 1935. Establishment of a federation, provincial autonomy, separation of Burma from India. Salient feature of Government of India Act 1935. Provincial autonomy. 11 provinces were granted provincial autonomy. Provincial autonomy is such as a system in which the government of the provinces is independent from any external influence and does not rely under federal influence. All India Federation. Under this act, it was proposed that all Indian Federation to be established consisting of 11 governor of provinces and 5 chief commissioners of 5 provinces. Methods of consent. Under this act, it was proposed that the state could join the federation, and after this accession the state would become a unit of the federation. Abolishment of unitary form of government. The Government of India Act 1935 has abolished the unitary form of government which had been working in India since the Regulation Act. Position of Secretary of State. Secretary of the state had no power to interfere in the administrative matter of the state. Position, power and function of governor. The governor was charged with responsibilities for the peace and order. Governor was entitled to act on the advice of minister. He was given veto power with regard to legislation. He was entitled to issue an ordinance for 6 months. In case of constitutional breakdown, he was authorized to dissolve the legislative assembly. Bicameral legislation. Bicameral legislature is the practices of having two legislative chambers. Legislative chambers. The relationship between the two chambers of a bicameral legislature can vary. In some cases, they have equal power, and in other, one chamber is clearly superior to the other. It is commonplace in most federal system to have a bicameral legislature. Provincial legislature. The Act of 1935 attempt to make each province's mistress in her own house. Rigidity. The Government of India Act 1935 was reached. Only the British government alone was given the power to amend the act. Separation of power, the principle of separation of power was adopted, and three legislative lists were made: federal legislative list, provincial legislative list, concurrent legislative list, establishment of new institution. Under the Government of India Act 1935, new institutions like Federal Court, Federal Railway Authority, Reserve Bank of India, and Public Service Commission were established. Creation of new provinces, Sindh and Orissa were created are new provinces. Lengthy. The Government of India Act was lengthy. It was the longest bill ever passed by the British Parliament. The reason for this length was Parliament's lack of trust of Indian politicians and people. List of subject: federal list, provincial list, concrete list. उसके बाद है डिफेक्ट ऑफ गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक्ट 1935. इसमें है अनडेमोक्रेटिक डिस्क्रेशनरी पावर्स ऑफ द गवर्नर, no permeable indirect election of federal assembly, no control of Indian government over army, restricted powers of provincial legislature, no control of federal legislature over executive and governor, no enforcement of the federal part of act, privileged position of Indian state, complicated statute, no bill of right, conclusion. Indian Act 1935 was the outcome of a long constitutional history. It is also a product of the three elaborate sessions of Round Table Conference held in London. It is an important act because it is one of the foundation stones of the present Indo-Pakistan unworkable. This act failed to solve Hindu Muslim problem. थैंक यू. आज का लेक्चर हुआ ख़त्म.